So last time we introduced two stories. Seeing is absorbing and seeing is presuming. According to the first story, your brain's role in perceiving and seeing is like being a scribe, sort of taking in the world and putting it in a format you can use. According to the second story, seeing is presuming, your brain's role is far different than a mere scribe. It's more like a detective. It tries to figure out what's out there in the world based on the signal it receives from your eyes and maybe from other places. And then using every clue it can, it comes up with a sort of best guess about what out there in the world caused this incoming signal. So which of these two stories is closer to the truth? Well, there's some considerations that support seeing as absorbing. Here they are. Seeing certainly seems more like it's absorbing when it's happening. So at the moment, I'm looking out a basement window and I see a sled in a window well filled with snow and some cement blocks. I can see that the screen on the window is a bit broken. I can see the tops of a tree sticking over the window well. All of this just is immediately apparent to me. It's just there in front of me. All I need to do to see all of that is sort of turn my head in that direction with my eyes open, and it appears. It just seems like I'm taking in what's there. These are called phenomenological considerations. We look at how it seems to us when it's happening and try and learn about what's actually happening based on how it seems to us. Second, seeing what your eyes absorb promises to be safe in a way that seeing what your brain presumes might not be. So if the first dark room that we talked about last time is how seeing works, then there's not a lot of room for error. Think of that photographer. All she needs to do is make sure she doesn't screw things up. She just needs to follow a specified set of simple procedures to produce a print that matches the world. If seeing is like that, it seems relatively safe. Your brain can follow a simple set of specified procedures in order to produce a visual experience that matches what's out there in the world. By contrast, if what your brain does is more like what happens in the second dark room, where the photographer uses all of her memories and expectations and beliefs in order to try and paint an accurate picture based on the signal from the eyes, then there's a lot of room for error. Two photographers might have different expectations about what was out there in the world. They might remember things slightly differently and consequently come up with different images of the world, different pictures. That seems risky. It seems like there's a lot of room for error, and error can be dangerous. Finally, the central role seeing plays in knowing about the world also suggests that seeing is more like absorbing. If seeing is like absorbing, if you're simply taking in what's out there, then it's easy to see why seeing would provide a basis for knowledge. Your experience matches the world because it's just taking in what's there. It's just a direct function of what's there. By contrast, if seeing is presuming, if it's your brain making its best guess, then because there's all sorts of room for error, you might think seeing isn't a good basis for knowledge. So all of those considerations support the idea that seeing is absorbing. Why think seeing is presuming? Well, there's a variety of reasons. At this point, I want you to pause the video and you can go to this link here, or you can just search hollow face illusion on YouTube and watch a couple of videos of the hollow face illusion. Okay, and after you've watched a couple of videos of the hollow face illusion, come back here. So why do you undergo this illusion, which is commonly called the hollow face illusion? Well, for those who didn't visit the video, what you would see is this. You'd see a mask rotating, and the mask, you'd sometimes be looking at the front of the mask, so it would look convex to you, as if the nose is coming towards you, and the outside of the mask is kind of receding away. And sometimes you'd be seeing the back of the mask. And what's crucial is the back of the mask should always look concave, as if the nose is going away from you and the external edges of the mask are coming towards you. But in fact, from many angles, the back of the mask will appear to be convex, as if the nose is coming towards you. That's why it's an illusion. It shouldn't look that way, but it does. Well, you undergo this illusion for a simple reason. Your brain expects faces to be convex. It expects the nose to be coming towards you. And what your brain expects influences what you see. Now, you should notice straight away that that's very unlike seeing is absorbing. Seeing is absorbing says your brain's expectations don't influence what you see. Your brain acts as a mere scribe, taking what's there already present in the retinal image and creating a visual experience that matches the world on the basis of what's already present in the retinal image. By contrast, seeing is presuming says your brain's expectations will influence what you see because your brain acts like a detective using every clue it can, including its expectations, to try and figure out what's out there in the world. So this shows that at least sometimes perceiving is presuming, not absorbing. This raises a question: how often is seeing presuming rather than absorbing? And in support of the claim that perceiving is presuming, there's a variety of considerations. Now, we're not going to go through even close to all of these considerations. In the book from which you read a couple of chapters, there's several chapters exploring evidence that seeing and perceiving more generally is presuming. But we'll look at a few examples. We already looked at the rotating mask. In class on Thursday, we'll look at what's called the Ames room, not named for Ames, Iowa, but rather for the guy who invented it, Albert Ames. We'll look at something called the McGurk effect. We looked at that last class. That's the one with that fat bat. And there's many others. It's not just those phonemes that produce the effect. There's many other similar effects. The one where the person was mouthing that fat bat, and the audio was playing bat, bat, bat. But you heard that fat bat when watching the person mouth it, even though the audio was playing bat, bat, bat. We'll also look at some images of two different shades of gray, a single shade of gray that appears to be different because of your brain's expectations about the light source. And we'll look at some sine wave speech. We'll look at this final one, sine wave speech in class, and we'll look at the two grays in another video. We'll also look at a few other effects related to the McGurk effect. Okay, we're going to stop this video there, and we'll continue next time by talking a little bit about the McGurk effect and related effects and why they matter, why they support the claim that perceiving is presuming.